Hello, everyone. I'm Namrata Rao, and I'm here to talk to you about how I transitioned to product management from a functional role. I'm currently a senior product manager at JLL Technologies, and I'm excited to tell you my story. For today, you will hear me talk about starting off with introducing myself, telling you a little bit about my journey on where I started and how I got here. And then I would like to move on to talk to you about how did my transition happen over from a functional role that I was in to product management. What are the steps that I took which made it a reality? And by the end, I would love for you to leave with some key takeaways until we meet again next time. And with that, I would want to start with introducing myself. And as you can see, I start off here with the global world map. And that's because I am an avid traveler and have had the opportunity to live across different countries that has really even extended to my career journey and helped me evolve over time. My roots really belong and started back from my home in India. I had a technical aptitude that led me to begin my career academically as an engineer, to move on to first try my hand with QA. And what attracted me about QA was the fact that I got an opportunity to work on the customer side. So I was a pseudo customer who would try out things before it goes out into their hands. So the goal there was to give the best experience to our customers and make sure that we are validating it internally before it reaches the hands of customers. Having that attitude also made me think during my initial years that I want to get to this end to end piece. Being a novice first job grad engineer, this was just a concept that I want something that is end to end. I need to learn more, and that's when I will be able to do that. And it was that thirst and ambition that then got me to UK, where I did my master's and got an opportunity in Belfast to work as a consultant for a company there. And as part of working for them as a consultant, it was to continue my expertise in the field of QA. At the same time, I also got an opportunity to work from the customer side. So I got this really amazing opportunity to then be able to look at things on how they are deployed at customer side, how to make that work and happen so that we are delivering a quality product as a whole to customers. That helped fit one piece of the puzzle that I was looking for, but still it looked like there was something more out there that would again fit in with the end to end part that I'm looking at. This got me then to Singapore. And at Singapore, I was really fortunate to dive into two things. One, to start working in a startup company, and two, to start up a business of my own. Working at a startup company, as many of you here might know, is all about wearing multiple hats. And wearing those multiple hats, although officially I had the title of a QA, the multiple hats persona really helped me to evolve into a product owner, which meant I was in this position to talk to business development, get the customer requirements for them, and then translate it in a way where engineering can build a product. And this experience helped to really expand my expertise and expand my area of that end to end. Couple that with the fact that I was now an entrepreneur. I was doing a side hustle wherein my company called MultiCult was set up. It was set up to help emerging artists in Singapore to connect to buyers. So MultiCult was built as an online web platform that would bring emerging artists and buyers to a single place so that it can, one, help emerging artists sell their work, and buyers to pick unique pieces of artwork that they can own. And this experience gave me another facet of into life, which was about looking at the fact that you get to talk to customers directly, understand what they need, and then put the pieces together to build an offering that will help them achieve what they want to. And this was a piece that was very new to me and that also got me excited. And it felt that I now had pieces of the puzzle, but I didn't know what that was called when I go to an organization. And coming to US was the one turning point, although it was right across the ocean, that helped put those pieces together to make me realize that, aha, it is product management. And this is where, with my first company in US, Comfy, that I got an opportunity to move from being an engineering manager to transition to product manager. And from that point on, over the past 4 years, I have been leading product across various organizations of different sizes, different kind of products, and building and delivering really impactful experiences to our customers. And that journey has now got me to a place where I am a senior product manager at JLL Technology. And I would love to get into that story of how that transition really happened back when I was in my functional role. And this is going to come as no surprise because, being in product management now, it's always about knowing your why, knowing why you want to do something. And once you know your why, knowing what it is that I can do with now that I know this is my purpose. And it was somewhere, if you could say karmically, was something that was brought together to make it happen for me. Like most of you here, the first place we always go to is to Google and online and figure out what is it that I can find. And that is what even I did. And something that you may find online too when you start searching is you will learn about product management. You will understand what are the skill sets that are required for product management. And the things that they tell you online is also critical in the sense that you learn about what product management is about, what are the things you do, what are the skills you need. They provide you this real playing field where you get to look at three things when you do a skills inventory. It's about these are the product management skills. You then match it up with what are your skills? What is it that you bring to the table? And the third piece is what is it that doesn't match up and how you can work towards building that up. And this was great when you read about it and when you do those analysis. And I've heard many stories where people have gone through this route too. Now, like I was telling you with my origin story, I didn't even know that product management existed. So how it worked out for me personally was, one, as I told you about my journey, I was trying out different roles and really figuring it out that I have this urge, I have this itch that there's something that I need to do to figure out that end-to-end piece. So I went on trying different roles and trying on different hats to see if this is what it meant to get to that end-to-end picture. And that journey really helped me evolve, one, to learn and gain more expertise and skill sets, but it also helped me figure out what worked and what didn't work, which was key in coming to product management. But finally, what got me to product management or even helped me discover product management was networking. I was at this networking event once, and I was talking to one lady that I met, and I was really listening in on her journey and asking her questions around what does she do and how did she get here. And when she was narrating her journey to me, that's where it clicked. Because when she was talking to me about her journey, she said she was also an engineer and she had started off as a developer. And she took a break then to start off her own business. After her business, she then felt like she also needed to complete that end to end piece in an organization to deliver impactful experience. And that's when she found product management because that brought those pieces together to bring that end to end value that she was looking to add. And then when I questioned her more about what does she do as a product manager and how did this come about, I learned more about product management. And then that aha light bulb moment happened where it was like, okay, it looks like this is what I have been looking for. And my learnings really from this journey that I undertook was all about three things. One was the fact that during your career path, no matter if it's early, mid career, or even later, keep that gut voice, as I call it, on, because it's not always misleading. If it is telling you something, then listen to it, because that's what helped me. I didn't ignore that voice, although sometimes it would make me feel that maybe I'm just asking for something that doesn't exist. Maybe it's just me not being satisfied with what I do. But no, I was happy at what I was doing. I just wanted more. And listening into it helped me understand that I was looking for something a little bit more and a little bit expanded role. Maybe the role exists. Maybe I can create the role. So always make sure that you're listening in on that itch or that gut voice, because that really helped me. And in the path towards that, if you have to take up different roles, just like what I mentioned to you about myself, do take it up. It's uncomfortable. Your imposter syndrome will really come up because you're walking into the unknown and it's making you feel uncomfortable. But that's totally fine. It happened to me too. Every time I would get a new opportunity or a new role, like for example, in the startup, they were like, oh, it'll be good if you talk to business development and, listen to the requirements. I've never done that before. And I didn't know what that would mean. But then I said yes. I said, yes, I'll do that. And read up on how to do it and then talked and took help with my colleagues and had this feedback loop on so that they can tell me when I'm, taking a misstep. And that happened because, when you're on the job, things are going to work, things are not going to work. That also happened to me. But having a supportive system and always being open to learn and to take the feedback to improve really helped. It was risky, it was uncomfortable, but it helped because it, one, evolved my skills, and two, let me really explore different paths. Last but not the least, the other thing which many of you may also have recognized is there is no one size fits all approach, really. Like I've heard so many other stories, each one of us have our path. And the beauty of product management is you see people coming from different backgrounds, bringing in their own skill sets that they can add. And this is really what makes product management so special, and a place where people from different backgrounds can bring in their skill sets. And that's what helped me too. I could see that my journey was different. There was some similarity with some people, but the way I got there was different, and the way probably I'll go about it is going to be different. And that's fine because my career and my personality and skill set is very unique compared to someone else. And that is what should, really motivate and help you to keep at it once you've discovered that this is what you want to do. And of course, once you've figured out that this is what I want to do, it's all about now coming up with a plan and making sure that you understand how to get there, and how to make your dream a reality, if you will. For me, it was all about first starting up with a knowledge base and also trying it out to see what I have read, what I have heard. If I put it into action, is it really something that I'm going to enjoy? Because you can say that, you can learn new things and you're capable of doing that, but it should be something at the end of the day that you enjoy and you feel like it's adding value. And hence, taking up a hands on course really helped me. I got an opportunity there, one, to not only gain knowledge, but also to really be able to work with the team on a hypothetical project, which we were all aware of. But it brings in that rigor, and it gives you an opportunity to apply your learnings and try out things to really see if this is something I want. And during that trial process, I realized I really enjoyed it, even if it was hypothetical. That really made me very comfortable and made me think. And although I was taking up risks, it was something I was enjoying at every step. And I said, okay, great. It looks like it's a good start and I should give it a try. And to give it a try, the next step was, where do I work right now? I was working in this company where they didn't have a product manager and they were still growing the team. And so, sensing the place where I was in and where I was working at, my next step was really to go and talk to my manager, be open and transparent about what my career ambition is. And it was an interesting conversation because that was a point when my manager offered me the role to lead the team. She wanted me to become the manager and grow the QA team and build it. And there was a time, exact same time, when I went in to say, hey, I'm interested in product management. And this is where the relationship that you have with your boss and the kind of company that you are in really plays an important role. I was fortunate enough that I had an amazing manager with whom I shared a relationship where I could talk openly and transparently. And the company was also in a place where they were willing to give opportunity and take risks. And when we spoke about this, I think we came to a path where we agreed upon that the company right now is looking for a product manager, but they're of course looking at hiring their first product manager, so need somebody experienced. And I am at a place where they are looking to me to step up to a leadership role to grow a team. So we worked on the needs of the company and the state where it is right now, to then coming up with something that will align with my career goals too. And the action plan that we came up with there was to say that I will take up the current role that I've been offered, which is the leadership role, because I was also interested in people management and loved doing that. So we'll take up that and I'll build up my skills there and build my team for the next 3 to 6 months. And post that time period, the new product manager would have come in and settled in. Then I come back to my manager and talk about how I can take up new projects and split up my time between being an engineering manager and a shadowing product manager with some projects, to really see if, one, this is working for me, and two, if the company can evaluate my skill sets and see if there is a role that they can offer for me to become a full-time product manager. So I would definitely say that setting an action plan with clear milestones is super helpful. The way this worked for me in action was, I took up the engineering manager role and waited for 3 to 5 months so that I could hire my team, grow them, and put them in a place where things can self-operate. And went back to my manager and said, okay, we agreed upon this. So now the company already had a product manager, and there was like, now can we take this up a step further where I start shadowing the product manager while I keep doing my role? So we do a 80-20 split. I am 80% of the time the engineering manager, and 20% of the time I take up a project, a mini project, and work on it as a product manager. And this really helped because, one, my team was aware of this, that I was doing this transition, and even cross-functionally, team were very supportive in helping me with my mini project. And the 80-20 split also helped my team understand that, okay, I'm looking for a change. So, there are some times and delegating work and everything that comes into picture much more. And this really helped put things in motion. Now, of course, the learning there is that it's never a straight path. It's good to have an action plan, but it's not necessary that it's always going to go as per your plan. There were, for me personally, there were reorgs, there were organizational changes, there were product strategy changes, product directional changes that all happened during this time period. But in spite of it, what really helped was the fact that there was a foundational action plan. There was a foundational organization or a foundational conversation, rather, that we've had, which will help us get back every time at that milestone checkup time to say, hey, we spoke about this. I understand things have changed now. Can we talk again and see what does it look like now, and how are things going to progress? How have things changed? How can we make it work? Is there an opportunity to make it work? So what helps here really is you always remembering that you're at the driver's seat and you can make it happen. And I would definitely advocate for that. And hence the action plan is your source of truth. And having that really helps have such engaging and outcome driven conversations. And as always, we've started with the why, you've put up the action plan. Now it's time to put it into motion. And when you start putting it into motion, that's where the execution comes. And the picture is very famous for the product management function itself. You do everything. But just imagine here that you're in that transition phase and you're doing this 80% current role, 20% new role. And you say, according to your action plan, and that's how it worked for me, where it was every quarter we'll come back and evaluate how I did with that project. What were the metrics based on which we will evaluate if I was successful with that project? And if I was, then it'll be expanded. And that's how it worked for me. My first project was a mini project for 3 months. I worked on it, and at the end of it, I had a deliverable to present a report. I presented that report, and then it was, how well did I do? And, there were key metrics based on which they would decide, how well did I talk to other people in the team? What did they have to say? What kind of questions did I ask? Did my report cover all the necessary things that would help the executive team make a decision? How did I go about creating that report? Those were all the parameters on which the decision would be made if my project was successful at the end of 3 months. And the criteria was, if I'm successful at the end of 3 months with that project, then for the next 3 months, my role becomes much more of, say, for example, 50% engineering manager and 50% product manager. And my project scope also evolves. And that was key. But the one thing you have to remember is that on paper, 80-20, 50-50 sounds like we have it all sorted. But in reality, what was happening with me was that I was literally doing 2 jobs at the same time, because the split kind of works, but also when it gets down to the roads, it is always you are doing 2 full-time jobs at the same time. So you have to be aware that there will be a lot of time that you're putting in, much more than your usual. And that was something that I learned when things started to put in motion. But then I still persisted with it because I knew that at the end I was seeing a light and we had a plan. And of course, they were changing. Like I said, it's never a straight path. But there was this fact that we have clear metrics. We have clear measurements based on which we are deciding whether I proceed next or not, and how I'm doing, and keeping the feedback loop always in was helpful. And having this opportunity during these projects, not just to evolve and check if I'm enjoying the work, if the company sees my skill sets and truly sees value in what I do, but it was also about seeing things like being able to interact with cross-functional teams within the organization. I belong to engineering. I had very limited interaction with rest of the groups in a professional capacity. But during these mini projects, I really was able to break that and talk to people from marketing team, from sales team, from customer success, support, and listen in on what are they hearing from customers, capture those voices, capture their gaps, their needs, and articulate it in a way where I can take it back to engineering for product development and make it happen. And this is what is the biggest gain you get when you put things into motion and persisting through it, because things are going to change around you. The organization is not linear, and if anything, during these times we've learned that externally also things are changing. Nothing is linear, so there are ups and downs. But if you yourself are clear on what you want and where you're going, then you can keep pushing for it and keep coming back. Because for me, I took it upon myself that this is my career and I'm at the driver's seat. And if I need to make this transition happen, I have to keep at it and keep coming back to it and saying, what am I learning? How am I progressing? And is this taking me to my goal of becoming a product manager? And this really helped me in my company to move from that 80-20, 50-50 to a point where at the end, with the changes happening, I was the only product manager for the longest time, taking in on the company's suite of products. But that helped me over time with this transition to really communicate and connect with my colleagues, learn more about the product, learn more about the process. That made me feel that I was confident to take on the role when it was offered to me. And hence this journey in itself is a lot of learning, a lot of ups and downs, but keeping at it is going to get you where you have to. And it helped me get to where I wanted to just over time. And if there's anything that I would like you to take away from my presentation today, I would say that, number one is when you're networking with other people, keep an eye, listen in, ask good questions, try to learn more about somebody else. That's what worked for me. It helped me I didn't go into that event with talking to people to understand whether the end-to-end puzzle fits. It was just talking to get to know the other person and understand where they come from, what they do. And having that mindset always helps. So I would say keeping that open mindset is really great. The agreed upon plan is critical. Having an action plan is great, but having it in a way where you have an agreement with the stakeholders who can influence your plan is key, because that's when things are going to be set into motion. And that's how it helped me. Having myself and my manager be aligned really helped, even when the baton was passed. I got a new manager over a period of time. And even when a new manager came in, because we had a foundational plan and an agreed upon plan, I could go with that same thing and say, hey, I had spoken and was on this transition path. I understand things are changing, but I would like to continue with this. And this has been my progress over time. Can we keep it going? So I would definitely urge you all to have that agreed upon action plan to keep things in motion, irrespective of changes happening. And last but not the least is this always about doing the work, getting your hands dirty and experiencing it yourself and sharing the progress much more openly. That's what helps you understand where you're going. That's what lets others also see your potential and the value that you bring to the company. And while going through all of this, there is going to be your own piece, your own persistence, your own imposter syndrome that's going to keep coming up. But finding a way to deal with it and still staying true to your path and very clear on that I want to get to this destination is going to really help you land there. There are going to be ups and downs. I had my ups and downs with organizational changes and things sometimes straying away where it was a pause because some things were happening. So I had to pause my plan and wait until we can get back at it. And even during those times, I made sure the communication lines were open, and I was the one who would take charge to come back at it and never give up. And I wish you also end up doing the same thing when you get on to your journey. And before we close, I would say that some of the things that helped me and continues to help me is reading about how other people have done it or what are their views. So the hard thing about hard things was something one of my mentors recommended. It has a chapter on product management that really talks to you about what are some of the things you should do, not do, how does it work in companies that is putting up product management in place or that already has product management. Thinking Fast and Slow is a really good book to understand about user mindset, the psychology, because at the end of the day, as a product manager, you're building products for your customers and you want to look at and understand their behaviors. So this is really key in understanding that. Other resources that have helped me is the podcast. This is product management. They have various leaders coming in and talking about their experiences. So that really gives you on the ground about how things are happening in different organizations, different industries. The Product Coalition is another site which I refer back to look at some of the key things on how they are going. And there are multiple resources. These are just some key things that I picked up. Feel free to follow me at Twitter and shoot me any questions that you may have. And I hope to keep the conversation going until we meet again. Thank you so much.